as well as the Under-15 South American Championship and World Cup qualifiers today. He is in charge of this rather exciting match. It's Venezuela making their debut in the competition. The Vinotinto finished last in their group in 2 of the last 3 editions of the South American Youth Championship, but they did win the group in 2009, finished 4th in the final group.
Get a look there at the head coach for Venezuela. It is Marco Matias, born in Maracay, Venezuela, 42 years of age, former manager of Deportivo Anzoátegui from 2008 to 2010, resigned from his position in 2010, and has been appointed the under-20 coach for Venezuela. Venezuela making their debut.
No pressure on him. He's got Cesar Farias in the stands watching. The full senior national team manager is in Argentina for this competition. He did say he would be hands-off, only there to lend support, not to put any pressure on the manager or the squad.
Venezuela's last official match coming in the under-20 level against Chile in the 2011 under-20 Sudamericano, a 3-1 loss. They finished last in Group A and did not advance to the final group. Their last official win coming against Tahiti, that in the 2009 under-20 World Cup in Egypt. The best they've ever finished in this competition. 3rd place in the very first tournament, the very first Sudamericano Sub-20, that coming in 1954. That's the best they've ever finished. You mentioned finishing in 4th place in 2009. We await the start of the match here. Raul Orozco checking his watch. He will be assisted today on the pitch by Wilson Arellano, also of Bolivian descent. The other sideline official will be Dario Gaona, and Enrique Cáceres, the 4th official for this match.
Ecuador will be considered the favorites for this contest, having held Brazil to a 1-1 draw, a match they probably should have won. The equalizer, an own goal by the man wearing the captain's armband today, Luis León. But being the favorite hasn't necessarily panned out in this competition, has it? No. Argentina and Brazil both struggling along. Argentina, despite being the host, sitting on 0 points. Brazil just 1 point, having just lost at this very stadium to Uruguay.
And we just had a nice little talking point thrown in here by our colleague Phil Shane. Well, at this point in the tournament, there's never been a situation where Brazil and Argentina have both gone 2 matches without a win. As we are underway here, live from the San Juan Bicentenario Stadium, Ecuador, in their 2nd match of the competition against Venezuela, opening up their account. Again, I am Gino Fuentes alongside Andres Cordero. You are watching BN Sports coverage of the South American Youth Championships. Getting underway here, Ecuador coming out in a 4-1-1 formation. And we'll run that down for you. Ecuador again in the yellow tops, the blue shorts, and the red socks, moving from left to right on your screen. Venezuela in the Vinotinto uniforms, moving from right to left.
A very poor touch by Uchuari, but he was arguably man of the match in that opener against Brazil. Does very well to win possession, and the ball just gets out away from him. The shot actually tips it with his plant foot. That goes harmlessly out.
Of course, Brazil, the reigning 3-time champions of this competition, 2011, 2009, and 2007, finishing in 2nd place in the 2 editions before that, also finishing as the top team in 2001. So they are considered the team to beat in this competition, despite the fact that Argentina are the hosts. As we have a throw in here on the near sideline by Cifuentes. Venezuela dropping it back. Cifuentes again. Will play it into the midfield. And they'll drop it back to Wilker Angel. Angel sends it forward. The attacking third, and a foul just outside the area there. Maybe about a foot, maybe 2. Either way, it's going to set up Venezuela with a free kick in a very dangerous spot.
Very dangerous. And Joseph Martinez, a man who can cause a lot of trouble for this back line. Take a look. He's going to test León and Ordóñez all game. He is the most experienced player on this Venezuela team. He is the leader of the Vinotinto. Also wearing the captain's armband today. Plays his club ball in Europe for Young Boys of Switzerland. And he's already played in this competition. He is one of 2 players on the Vinotinto side that have already played in the South American under-20s. The other is the leader of the back line, Wilker Angel. It's the perfect position for Joseph Martinez to take a good crack on goal.
Darwin Cuero in the Ecuador net, 4-man wall in front of him. The shot is taken right into the wall, though. A second shot, Cifuentes sending it up into the cage right in front of the stands.
And the first shot of the match for Venezuela, and no surprise, it's Josef Martinez. That's really where the strength of this Venezuela side is. It's up front. Josef Martinez, Manuel Arteaga, Darwin Machis, 3 players who ply their trade in Europe. They have one more that's on the bench, Añor. So if they need firepower, they know where to get it.
So this the second go-around for Ecuador in Group B, Venezuela's first tilt. As we have a foul here, this will go the way of Venezuela. Group B consistent of Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela. One team getting a bye in each round. Venezuela got that bye in the first round. This one played all the way to the far side of the pitch for Terán. Chips it in over the top, headed back by Ecuador. Teams jockeying for possession here in the midfield. This, by the way, a relatively new stadium, the Bicentenario, home of San Martin of San Juan, as we have one of our first forays forward from Venezuela. And that one is cleared away.
Martinez does so well to turn on the ball and looks to pick out one of his 2 strikers, Arteaga and Machis. They do have 3 forwards. Martinez can play as a midfielder or as a forward. Today he looks like he's lining up just behind Arteaga and Machis to provide the service.
Again, this stadium opening up in March of 2011, saw its first action in the lead up to the Copa America, a friendly between Argentina and Venezuela. 4-1 the final score in that one. Played host to a number of matches in the Copa America. Fanning out to the right-hand side, Vino Tinto trying to go forward. Good defense here.
Not exactly packed to capacity tonight, though, is it? Some fans have stuck around following the Brazil-Uruguay match. Nice cozy atmosphere.
By the way, if you missed that Brazil-Uruguay match, you missed a hell of an encounter. 3-2 the final score. The winner coming in the 91st minute. Nicolas Lopez getting the assist from Diego Lachalt. Lachalt, who also had the first goal of the match for Uruguay, sending Brazil to their first loss in the tournament. Still winless, Brazil. This will be a throw-in along the near sideline for Ecuador. Headed into the middle, and Ecuador will look to fan possession out to the left wing. Christian Ramirez. Into the midfield now for Corozo. Back to Grueso. Sent forward and taken away by the Vino Tinto, who are going forward, and a foul committed by Luis Bermeo.
And again, it's Martinez going forward. He's got the quickness, he's got the control. He's a nice little player, one of the good young stars of this tournament, and a man who wants to make a name for himself. Venezuelan soccer has really made strides in recent years. This under-20 club, this under-20 side, they want to prove that that is going to continue. That there is a steady stream of talent working its way up to the Vino Tinto.
Jose Peraza sending this one out to the wing. Unable to control it, though, is Renzo Zombrano. Gets it back, though, sends it toward the goal, but this one out of play. And it will be a goal kick for Darwin Cuero.
And Gino, in that opening match between Brazil and Ecuador, most of the media and the Brazilians themselves surprised by how attack-minded Ecuador were. But here it seems that maybe Vino Tinto or Venezuela trying to do a bit of the same. Put the pressure on offensively. Don't sit back and absorb. Instead, try and be the protagonist.
So Darwin Cuero sends this one back into the fray. Ecuador come away with possession here. This one forward, Parales. Parales, we mentioned, 16 years old, scored the very first and only goal against Brazil. 7 minutes here in the early going. Both teams still very much feeling each other out. Second match of the night here at the Bicentenario Stadium. This is going to be a long throw-in, it looks like. Over the top, Velasco gets it back, taps it to his teammate. And forth, this one into the box, Ceballos handling it. This one's put out of play by Venezuela. Back into the attack, and this one put out of play. This will lead to a corner kick. Looks like it'll be the first corner of the match for Ecuador. Looks like it may have gone out over the end line. Instead, no, it will be a corner. Johnny Uchadi to send it in. This will be an outswinger right to the penalty area, but bounces over the head. And the Vinotinto send it forward, getting it out of their area. Probably a wasted possession, really.
Yeah, Martinez just trying to send that ball forward as quickly as he could. Trying to spark that quick counterattack, and here they go again.
So back into the attack, Peraza sending it forward, looking for Joseph Martinez. The ball just a bit too far out in front and goes out over the end line.
This is Jose Peraza, one of the two brothers on the Venezuela side. Edwin Peraza and Jose Peraza, they play alongside each other in the Venezuelan top flight for Caracas FC. They're also joined up now in the starting 11 for this man, for Marco Matias, who is very calmly sitting on the bench. Matias
sent forward, looking for Uchuari. Put out of play though. Peraza doing a good job in defense that time. Uchuari, one of the focal points in the Ecuadorian attack.
As far as Ecuador going forward, Uchuari and Jose Ceballos Enriquez were really the ones causing trouble for Brazil. And Miguel Parrales, the youngest man on the pitch, 16 years old. He was the goal scorer against Brazil.
Venezuela with a number of players to keep an eye on as well. I mentioned Joseph Martinez, the young boys player, can play as a forward or as a midfielder, as you mentioned already. Defined role here in the midfield. Darwin Machis applies his trade for Granada. Manuel Arteaga, 18 years old, playing for Parma. Some of the players to keep an eye on for the Vinotinto. Run down the structure of this tournament again. 2 groups of 5. The top 3 teams in each group advance to the final grouping. Top 4 teams qualify to the 2013 Under-20 World Cup in Turkey. This one thrown in along the far sideline. Ecuador tiptoeing that end line. Into the middle now for Corozo. And out to Uchuari. Uchuari drops it back to Velasco. Velasco gets it into the midfield. And here, Julio Cesar Rosero cheering on his players. And that one out over the end line, and it will be a goal kick.
Didn't go too well in this competition for Venezuela back in 2011, but 2009, a special year in Venezuelan soccer, as they made a trip to the Under-20 World Cup, qualified to Egypt 09 under Cesar Farias, the man now leading the full team, who is here watching the team today. Farias not interfering with Marcos Matias, but Matias trying to follow in those footsteps. So that was the first time that Venezuela reached the World Cup at any level. U17, U20, full national team.
And Marco Matias has expressed confidence in his side going into this competition. Commented that he fully expects his team will make the final group and qualify for the 2013 World Cup in Turkey. He has a good squad, expects a lot out of them. This one sent down the far sideline, headed out of play though. This will be another throw in along the far sideline for Ecuador. It's the middle, Uchuari. Uchuari drops it back. Venezuela doing a good job in defense here in the early going. Ball is played wide. Joseph Martinez now. Sent into the area, finds the foot of Machis, but a foul is called. Brings the attack to an end for Venezuela.
The ball was won brilliantly by Martinez in midfield, but Machis, it's an illegal touch there to settle it. Just grazing the arm. Didn't appear to be offside. control maybe a little bit too good, and it might have been got the use of the hand.
Now we've seen some atmosphere, particularly in the first match for Argentina. This one has the feel more of a training game than anything else. Just the environment in the crowd. This one is dropped back once again. Venezuela. Peraza sending this one forward over the top. Going to go out of play a bit too far out in front of the forward. Manuel Arteaga. Another throw in along this near side for Ecuador. Over the back there. No call by the referee, though. This one will go the way of Venezuela. Machis in on the play, as is Pedro Velasco of Ecuador. Cifuentes inbounding. Drop back again, Cifuentes. Gives it off to Edwin Peraza. And forward again for Cifuentes, who has it poked out of play.
Not much in the way of nerves for the Venezuela side, again, making their debut in the competition. Ecuador do have one match under their belt, and against Brazil, no less, so they worked their kinks out pretty early on. But you think these players at the age of 18, 19, 17 years old, representing your country, it's a big deal in a competition like this. The Sudamericana, at this level, the under 20, gets a lot of attention in South America and a lot of attention from European scouts as well. But Venezuela looked very composed, very much involved in the match. In fact, driving the action through the first 15 minutes.
You mentioned that Ecuador has already played a match against Brazil. That one just coming just 2 days ago. And that will be the norm here in the first round. Unless you have a bye, you will play every other day, most likely. Venezuela, about as fresh as you can be. Fresher than any squad, having hit the field for the first time just now. Up the right-hand side again, and good play in defense that time. Anderson Ordóñez puts it out of play.
Yeah, but will they stay fresh? I had a chat earlier this week with former U.S. under-17 manager Wilmer Cabrera, who actually played in this competition and qualified to the youth championship, which back then was under-18 twice. Said the most difficult part of this competition is the regularity with which you play. In many cases, just one day off, and it's particularly true for Venezuela. They had a bye in the very first round. Now they will play every other day the rest of the way in the group stage. So not a lot of rest between their matches. A game, a day off, a game, a day off. It could really wear you down, especially since managers seem, at least in the early going, intent on rolling out more or less the same starting 11 for every match. And again, they're 17, 18 years old. You can run forever.
Darwin Cuero sends this one back into play. This one again put out of bounds by Venezuela, choosing to play the safe ball once again. Venezuela trying not to beat themselves here in the early going, as these teams continuing to field each other out as we creep into the 17th minute here in the first half. Ecuador hoping to better their best finish in this tournament. Not a historically potent side in this competition. A record of 15 wins, 15 draws, and 49 losses all time. Goal differential of -84. Venezuela, though, not much better, just beneath them, just 12 wins all time in this competition. Both these sides could do to change a little bit of history in their favor. Ecuador off to a decent start. A draw with Brazil is usually a very good accomplishment, although Brazil admittedly not playing very well here in the outset. And Argentina dropping their first two matches. No one saw that one coming.
None, with Uruguay beating Brazil earlier today, reaching 4 points. Ecuador with a chance to climb level atop Group B. A win over the Vinotinto would see them on 4 points. They would share that top spot with the Uruguayans.
And if they could get a 2-goal victory, that would vault them to the top of the group. Ecuador scored 6 times, but has allowed 5. This one sent in toward the box, headed on by the defense. Good job by Wilker Angel. And this one comes out along the far sideline. Renzo Zambrano gets it up the field.
Yeah, Chouati sends a good ball in, but there was no one there to meet it for the Ecuadorians.
Venezuela, if they can get a win here in their first match, that would vault them directly into second place here in the early going. It's going to be a foul, and that will go the way of Ecuador.
The left back, Pedro Velasco, getting very involved in the attacking. Likes to venture up from that left back spot, get involved in the attacking third.
Ecuador taking their time here. This one sent into the forward. Headed on, just a bit too far out in front of Uchuari though. Now will go out of play.
Said left back, right back, Pedro Velasco. Links up with John Uchuari there down that right wing.
Jose Contreras will send this one back into play. Contreras plays for Aragua in Venezuela. He's been capped 4 times for the under-20 side. Over the top again. This one, no threat though. Contreras will again bring it down. High pressure put on by Parales, and Contreras will pick it up.
The Ecuadorians lacking connectivity in these early stages. Not really stringing their passes together in midfield. They have managed to escape a little bit with Uchuari down the right flank.
Up the right-hand side now. Chance there, but good defensive play out there on the wing. Carlos Grueso getting out to make the defensive play. This will be a goal kick for Cuero. Darwin Cuero, by the way, 18 years of age. Plays his ball at El Nacional in Ecuador. You get some atmosphere in the crowd now. Somebody broke out the drums. That one out on the near sideline. That's going to be another foul that will go the way of Ecuador once again. So we're all even on fouls now, 2 apiece. 20 minutes gone. We invite you to check out our website, www.beinsport.tv, as well as on Twitter. Get involved. Send us a message. Any comments are welcome on the South American Youth Championships. Be in Sport USA, in Spanish as well. ES Be in Sport. 0-0 here in the early going. This one sent in toward the box. Headed up into the air and headed away by the Vino Tinto. The right-hand sideline. This one sent in toward the keeper. Darwin Cuero has to get down to cover it up.
That's a very ambitious shot by Jose Martinez. Arteaga lurking inside the area, but easily controlled by Cuero. Miles away, and just a slow dribble up to the Ecuadorian goalkeeper.
It's going to be a foul. It will be whistled against Ecuador. Venezuela will get possession back. Again, our head official for this encounter, Raul Orozco Delgadillo, Bolivian official. If he seems familiar, may recall a match between Chile and Peru in Santiago. That one in the South American World Cup qualifiers. Chile's Gonzalo Jara was supposedly caught on replay committing a handball in the area. That went uncalled. Then later on in the match, Gary Medel blatantly slapped Paulo Guerrero. That went uncalled as well. Came under fire for those decisions. Down the left-hand side now, the Vino Tinto getting free, headed toward the net. Machis sends that one toward the 6-yard box, but it's put out of play.
Great work by Murillo to track that ball down and then send a very dangerous cross into the very heart of the area.
Anderson Ordonez making the defensive play. Rather slow-moving opening 22 minutes here. Corner kick from the near sideline. Venezuela. can see Joseph Martinez making himself available for the short play. This one will be sent into the box, though. Far post, up over the head of everyone. That will go harmlessly out of play. And Darwin Cuero will send it back in for Ecuador.
Young Jose Ceballos Enriquez. Nice pedigree in his family. He is the son of former Ecuador goalkeeper Jose Ceballos. Played for the Ecuador national team. Now Ceballos Jr. following in his father's footsteps, not just in terms of representing the national team, he may get to the full team someday, but also in his club football, plays for Liga de Quito. That is the club where his father played up until his retirement.
This one sent back in toward the midfield, but Ecuador come away with possession. This one sent out to the wing now. Christian Ramirez tries to get it forward. A couple of balls on the pitch. One remains on the far sideline, but we go forward. Martinez getting it out to a teammate, and just offside as Manuel Arteaga had drifted just a bit. He's caught.
Arteaga not able to keep himself behind that last defender on the pass, but good job by Joseph Martinez to pick him out quickly and try and get the ball there as early as possible. Give Arteaga options.
Mentioned Arteaga, one of the more decorated members of this team. Already has a cap for the Venezuelan first team, the senior team. Made 3 appearances for the under-17 side as well. This is his first appearance for the under-20 side. Is owned by Parma in the Italian Serie A. Born in Maracaibo, Venezuela.
It is an all-European attack for Venezuela. Joseph Martinez for Young Boys, Arteaga for Parma, and Machis plays his club ball for La Liga side Granada.
Ended up in the air. Ecuador trying to secure possession here, but finding it hard to do so. Player hitting the deck there was Jose Peraza, but no call by the referee. 25 minutes gone here in the first half, still scoreless. That one put out of play and will be inbounded once again by Ecuador. Haven't seen that same pace, that same aggression that we saw against Brazil. A subdued match thus far for Ecuador against Venezuela. If anything, Venezuela, the one pushing the pace. Up over the top, and this one will roll harmlessly to Darwin Cuero.
Yeah, Ecuador held the 3-time defending champions Brazil to that 1-1 draw by holding possession, getting out on the attack, and trying to take the game to the Brazilians. Julio Cesar Rosero would have been confident in his side winning that match. Probably deserved all 3 points. It was Miguel Parrales who opened the scoring in the 28th minute. Did have some bad luck though. An own goal by Luis León Bermero, forcing the Ecuadorians to have to settle for a point in their opener. It was that attack mentality that really surprised the Brazilians.
And we've seen that now from a couple of the non-traditional powers. Ecuador putting forth a good showing in their first one. Peru, despite coming away with a 3-3 draw in their first encounter with Uruguay, they put 3 goals on the board and look very dangerous in attack going forward. So might see something out of the non-traditional sides this time around. The only team that does not seem to be showing anything in particularly impressive would be Bolivia. Bolivia, not a golden generation though. That was not expected from them. Historically the worst of the 10 normal South American sides competing in this tournament. This one out to the wing now. Velasco creeping forward. That's for a give and go into the area. Chance here for Ecuador. Another chance on the rebound, but it's cleared out of the box. Good defending by Venezuela.
I mentioned that Velasco does like to get up on the attack, and he does really well this time. Good combination up top to free up Johnny Uchuati.
Back into the attack. And Venezuela getting it out of the area. Machis now on the ball. Machis There's a few options. Chooses to give it off to Martinez. Martinez has a go, and what a golazo! Left-footed strike. Darwin Cuero got a hand on it, but he was never going to stop it. Joseph Martinez gives Venezuela the 1-0 lead.
Uchuari probably should have scored on the other end, and I bet he wishes he had, because that man, Joseph Martinez, may just well be the best player on the pitch. Takes advantage of this bounce and falls to him. He looks up, sees he has plenty of space, and he drills this, surprising Darwin Cuero, who seemed to react just a step too late, and Joseph Martinez living up to expectations.
So Venezuela stopping to get water. The referee calling them back to the center circle. Wants to get on with it, but a surprise pop from Martinez, team captain. We are off and running here. Venezuela opening their account 1-0 in the 28th minute.
And Martinez may have just scored what might be the goal of the tournament. It is early stages, but that was a brilliant shot. Powerful, bending over the goalkeeper. Highlight reel stuff, a blockbuster blast from Joseph Martinez. Leading by example. That should give his Venezuela teammates plenty of confidence.
The only goal I can think of that comes to mind thus far from the tournament was a goal scored by Edwin Gomez, fullback for Peru. Scored from about 30 yards out on an angle, short hop the goalkeeper, but this one was spectacular.
You can do it again.
Second chance here. Martinez chooses to lay it off this time. Machis having a go, trying to curl it around the keeper, but it does not curl. And Darwin Cuero is going to have another goal kick.
Unselfish play by Martinez, who knows he's not going to get a clean shot off, so fakes the shot, instead lays it off. And Darwin Machis probably takes a bit too long with this. Could have settled it, struck it first time, decides to cut it back inside, and when he wants to bend it back into that back post, just doesn't get enough of his foot around the ball to give it the effect he wanted.
30 minutes gone now. Raul Orozco calling the ball back for a free kick. Venezuela getting the jump on Ecuador here. No one at the line. This one chipped. Headed on, but brought down by Contreras. No real danger in that one. Sends it out to the wing, and Venezuela quick to go forward here. Into the middle, but intercepted by Ecuador. Almost ran into the official that time. Back out to the wing. Uchuari. Uchuari sends it out to the left for Christian Ramirez. Murillo making himself available. Passed up though. Has a sent to Grueso. Grueso gets it forward. Some give and go, but a good takeaway in the midfield by Venezuela, and they'll get into their offensive possession here. Again, working that right-hand side seems to be a favorite of Venezuela, although the goal coming from more or less the left. Over the top, and that's going to be a foul called against Venezuela's Manuel Arteaga.
Just pushes off to free himself, Arteaga. You'll see here the ball taking a bounce. Arteaga just using his body. Wasn't a lot there, but he does gain an advantage from the slight shove. This result would be spectacular for Venezuela. They had a rough go of their preparation for this competition. Played plenty of high-level matches at the under-20 level in terms of friendlies. But it didn't go very well for them. They lost their December 21st friendly against the United States in Miami, a match the U.S. won 4-0. They held to a 1-1 draw by Peru in Arequipa. Lost 3-1 to Paraguay, also in Arequipa. Those are the three friendlies they used to prepare for this competition. The late stages of 2012.
The Vino Tinto now in possession of the ball. They'd like to add a second goal here if they can before the halftime break. Cifuentes sends it forward, head back into the midfield. Again, Cifuentes with the interception. Getting it up the flank. And here comes Machis. Machis sending a shot to the far post, but that one drifting wide. Darwin Cuero will send it back into play. Here's the goal again. See, Martinez just turns around, takes a look at goal, and fires it over the keeper's head. Blockbuster shot.
The ball takes a nasty curve as well, doesn't it? Puts some good effect on it. Darwin Cuero just a little late to react. By the time he does, there's nothing he can do about it. That's great awareness by Joseph Martinez. It's not just a goal. He probably is the best player in terms of quality on the pitch through the first half hour of play, and he's dropping back pretty far in the midfield to help in recovery. So pulling the strings and scoring the goal is Joseph Martinez. Plays as a midfielder and a forward for Young Boys in Switzerland, mostly as a forward, but he can play as a central midfielder and also as one of the side midfielders.
Contreras taking his time, finally comes under the pressure of Parales. Gets it forward, back into the midfield. High pressure here, a chance, and almost a very bad situation. Darwin Cuero may have taken a hit here. Not sure exactly what went down. Looks like there may have been a collision of teammates. Let's get another look at it. And that's exactly what happened. Darwin Cuero goes down to get the ball. Velasco runs into him with his shin right in the face. Did not look pretty. Looks like he'll be all right, though. Darwin Cuero, 18 years of age.
It's too early for tired legs, but you're right, Gino. You just don't see the same intensity from this Ecuadorian side they had against Brazil. Same sort of ravenous need to score a goal.
And you wonder if it's them playing down to the competition. Brazil has this sort of mystique that you always bring your A game to play, as does Argentina. I think that they may have let off a little bit because it's Venezuela in front of them and not Brazil or Argentina or Uruguay.
There's so much pride involved in these, whether it's South American World Cup qualifiers or the under-20. There's just so much at stake, and it's only 10 national teams. Bragging rights matter. I don't know that anyone takes each other lightly. We've seen at the senior level Bolivia pull off upsets against the likes of Argentina. So I don't know that it's playing down to their competition. It is hot in San Juan, but it's hot for both teams. And so far, Venezuela have just been taking their game, imposing their will, and carrying the tempo.
Ecuador trying to respond to that Venezuelan goal. A cross sent in from the left-hand flank. This one headed away by Venezuela, though. Cifuentes getting a head on it and then getting fouled.
Victor Cifuentes comes in to try and get a header on the ball, but ends up taking what looked like an elbow from Jose Ceballos. See again. Turns that shoulder into him. Nothing too malicious, but catches the hip against the body as well.
So the number 3 is up, Cifuentes. Ceballos. Contreras, the goalkeeper for Venezuela, will send this one back into play. Inside of 10 minutes remaining here in the first half. Ecuador, Venezuela, the second round of group play in Group B, South American Youth Championships. The under-20 Sudamericano, that one out of play on the far sideline. Venezuela will inbound. And taking the throw-in is Leonardo Terán.
There's been one good chance for each side. The difference is Venezuela managed to make the most of theirs, and the degree of difficulty through the roof on that shot by the captain, Joseph Martinez. Shot on target by Ecuador, or for Ecuador, was Johnny Uchuati almost immediately before Venezuela's goal. Ended up in a one-on-one chance with Jose Contreras. Contreras came up with a brilliant kick save.
That one gets all the way out of play. Will stay with Ecuador, trying to keep it in bounds that time. Venezuela. Velasco goes to inbound. Gets it into his number 5, Eddie Caruso. But a foul is called against Cifuentes hitting the ground. So a free kick here in Venezuela territory. See where this one ends up. Sent forward toward the box. Headed back by the Ecuadorian defense. Corozo. And out of play again on the near sideline.
Just an absolute lack of connection in midfield for Ecuador. Not able to keep possession, not able to do much with it. So every once in a while, just send the hopeful ball forward. The one time they did manage to cause a bit of a stir in that Venezuelan backline was when Pedro Velasco pushed up on the right flank.
Stepped on his heel there. Robert Garces getting stepped on that time by Jose Peraza. It's going to set up a Ecuador free kick. Played short. Velasco. Now swinging it over to the left-hand side for Christian Ramirez. Christian Ramirez cuts inside, trying to get around 3 defenders. Gets around the first 2, but gets cut off by the second. Ecuador keeps possession, though. Into the area, controlled. Ecuador with a chance here. The shot is taken, and a good save by Jose Contreras, who gets down. And finally, Venezuela able to clear it away.
It's another good kick save by Contreras, but this is much better from Ecuador, linking up their passes.
Aaron Cross send in to the box. Contreras able to get down. Here's the play again. See Contreras able to get down.
Yeah, Jacob Murillo wasn't intended for him, but it falls to him and he takes a crack. Unfortunately, it's right at Contreras, who does well to keep that out. Panicked a little bit in front of goal, did Jacob Murillo.
Murillo. This one dummied. Another shot taken. This one at the far post, but again goes out of play. Contreras watches it go by. As Eddie Corozo having a pop there from the midfield. Here's the play again. Once again getting down that left-hand side is Jacob Murillo. This time the defensive mid. Eddie Corozo having the shot.
And we're seeing Ecuador start to grow in confidence. That little dummy there taking chances. Starting to lift themselves up, believing they can get this equalizer before the break.
Inside of 5 minutes to go here in the first half. Ecuador trying to get their first win of the tournament. Make their way to the top 2 if they can get a victory here. Venezuela trying to start off their account with a win. A win in their first match would vault them right into second place immediately in the group. So another free kick here. This one about 35 yards out.
Opening up with 3 points would be just absolutely brilliant for Venezuela.
Christian Ramirez sends this one into the area. Brought down again by Ecuador. They keep possession. As tiptoeing that end line was Jose Ceballos.
As I was saying it would be an amazing boost, because after this they get a day off and they face Peru, a day off and they face Brazil, then a day off and they face Uruguay. So getting these 3 points in the pocket would be absolutely crucial for Venezuela.
You mentioned they had their bye in the first round of group play, which means that they will have no further byes. Brought down again. Deflected. Comes down for Ecuador, although all the way back in their defense. A little bit more than 3 minutes to go now in the first half. Ecuador still searching for that first goal.
The bye, however, did give head coach Marcos Matias the chance to scout 2 of his opponents. He was at that Brazil-Ecuador match, jotting down a few notes, not only for this, but also for when they faced their penultimate Group B match against Brazil later on in the competition. Got a good look at what he would face in that opening game.
Although I get the impression that Brazil and Argentina as well just haven't gotten going yet. And maybe that the form that they've exhibited in their first 2 matches, not indicative of the way they're going to play for the rest of the tournament. We did get a look at some of the talent on the field. Ordóñez in defense that time. This will be a throw-in along the far side. Venezuela seeing if they can make it 2 before the break. Outside of the boot there, that one gets under the foot of the defender, but Darwin Cuero there to clean up the mess. Ecuador down the right-hand side now. Uchuari poked away. Cifuentes in possession, gets it out to the left wing. To the midfield now for the Vino Tinto. Chip back. Sort of stuck in the midfield right now.
But that's fine. Maintain possession. It's actually what's lacking from Ecuador. Don't be afraid to play a negative pass on occasion if it means you get to maintain possession. So we saw Venezuela do there. For Ecuador, it's been almost forward to the detriment of themselves.
Manuel Arteaga, the intended target that time, but goes over his head and falls for Darwin Cuero, who gets it back into play. Just a little bit over a minute now remaining in the first 45, headed back into the midfield. Venezuela, Marco Matias' side, looking what the coach built them up to be. I already mentioned that he expressed his confidence that his team would reach the next phase of the tournament and qualify for the Under-20 World Cup. Ecuador with another free kick chance. Ramirez sends this one high, not quite into the box. Chance at a shot here is fired on, but Jose Contreras easily collects it. Bounced right into his stomach.
Uchuari played very well against Brazil. He's playing very well here against Venezuela. Takes a crack because it's his second shot of the match. Probably should have put his first one in the back of the net, didn't bury it. Instead ended up paying for it at the other end when Jose Martinez scored a goal that I frankly cannot wait to see again at halftime.
There's the foul again from behind. Into stoppage time now. Waiting to get the signal from the 4th official, Enrique Cáceres. How much time will be added on here at the end of the first half? Ecuador, believe it or not, with the edge on shots, 3-1. This one sent toward the keeper. A number of players hitting the turf. Jose Contreras collects it. And that is all for the first half of play. Raul Orozco brings it to a halt. And the Vino Tinto Venezuela with the early lead. A goal by Joseph Martinez, who had a look at goal, decided to have a go, and a beautiful shot over the head of Darwin Cuero, giving the Vino Tinto the early lead in their first match out.
An incredible start for Joseph Martinez, an incredible start for Venezuela. If they can keep it up, they would be well on their way to potentially advancing from this group stage.
So 45 minutes in the book. Ecuador trailing Venezuela 1-0. We'll be back with more after this.
beIN Sport brings you the best of the Spanish League. Malaga promises to be the predator. The team, headed by Manuel Pellegrini, will hunt down the untamable beast. In the most important match of the week, they host the undefeated Barcelona, who so far annihilates anything in its path. Malaga, Barcelona, tomorrow, only on beIN Sport. The top teams from all of the European nations come together for the ultimate competition. And now, it's here in the U.S. 48 matches, 40 teams, 1 championship. The Velux EHF Champions League on beIN Sport. The South American Under-20 lives on beIN Sport.